Governor Ron DeSantis has had enough of this nonsense. This guy's absolutely terrific down in Florida. Him and Kristi Noem are rapidly moving up my list of contenders for a future national office. Of course, I'm assuming President Trump doesn't run again. He's obviously my letter A pick, my number one pick. But DeSantis gave a press conference yesterday down in Florida, and he is launching in a pretty ambitious crackdown on these big tech tyrants who, of course, suppress conservatives. I just gave you a number of examples just of what happened to me alone. All that stuff is stuff that happened to me and my political allies. It doesn't require, I don't need you to fact check it. It happened to me. So DeSantis's bill, I'll cover what's in it in a minute, but it really goes after these big tech guys where it hurts, fines and everything like that. And here's DeSantis answering questions from a ridiculous reporter who's like, hey, I heard all the people deplatformed on Twitter. There was a reason for it. Yeah, there was a reason. They were conservatives. Here's DeSantis' answer, which is priceless. Check this out.
You see that there's no requirement for those that are posting on the internet to have any, any kind of regulation or any kind of, accurate portrayal of events. Because a lot of this is, driven, the deplatforming seems to be driven by somebody did something that provoked the platform's attention.
Well, I think it's been done in a way that's completely unprincipled. They mentioned the Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden story was true. Okay, we now know was true. And the typical corporate media outlets, they just chose to ignore it. Obviously, they wanted to beat Trump. They had a view on the election. They didn't want to give it any air. So we rely on social media to go around that, not let corporate legacy media outlets control the discourse and let us speak. So you had the New York Post to run it, and you couldn't get any traction. You couldn't get any reach on it because big tech put their thumb on the scale. So that was true. What they said at the time, it's a conspiracy or it's based on hacked information. Are you kidding me? You're trying to tell me if there was hacked information that could damage me, you guys wouldn't print it? Give me a break. You can whiz on my leg, but don't tell me it's raining.
Hey, Joe, who uses the word whiz anymore? The whiz is making a comeback. With Cajones. Whiz is making a strong comeback thanks to Ron DeSantis. My humble opinion. Governor Ron, take it or leave it. I know you've got pretty good political advisors. I know you've got Cajones yourself, which I know it's not presumption. It's my version, Cajones. I'm bringing Cajones back. Take it or leave it, my advice. I seriously think if, say, President Trump doesn't run in 2024, you should consider it. If not, maybe, 2028 afterwards. But I think you should seriously consider your campaign slogan being, don't whiz on my leg. I'm just saying, I'm just going to throw that out there. Don't whiz on my leg as a campaign slogan would be absolutely spectacular. Ron DeSantis, 2028. DeSantis Noem. Don't whiz on our legs. What do you think? You like that, Paula? Yeah, I know Joe's a big fan. By the way, the question from the reporter is entirely hilarious and ridiculous. He says, well, these social media companies were provoked into deplatforming people. Really? Provoked how? Why producing an entirely factual story about the Biden crime family? About Hunter Biden being investigated by the FBI that turned out to be absolutely true, that we knew before the election was absolutely true because we had an FBI case number, something I said on my show before the election. What do you think? They invented the FBI case number? They could have just called the FBI and said, hey, is this a real case number? We had the case number. And someone would have said, yes, it is. This is not fake news. So please, this journalist clown, if I don't know who you are in Florida who asked that stupid question, please shut your pie hole and move on and stop acting like a full-blown liberal activist, like the Pravda media activist you are, and ask real questions. Like maybe what's in the bill here in the show notes today. Again, a must-read story, Breitbart. Alam Bakari, who I interviewed on my show once, who's done absolutely spectacular, priceless work on the big tech disaster in this country today. Breitbart, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis launches his ambitious crackdown on big tech. Here's what's in this bill. I love a lot of the stuff in here. Check this out. You can read it yourself. We have things like fines on social media companies, mandatory opt-outs. Here's the first one. I won't read the whole thing, but the new regulations announced by DeSantis include Mandatory opt-outs from big tech content filters, a solution to tech censorship first proposed by Breitbart. They're right, in 2018. This is a great one. Think about what this allows. It allows you, say you were to sign up for Twitter and Facebook, it allows you by Florida law to say, I don't want to be included in their content filters or algorithms. In other words, this is a shocker, folks. Paula, get ready, brace yourself. I'm an adult. I'm a big boy. I'm a big girl. I can handle speech, even stupid speech, and people who put expletives and porn and stuff. We can handle it. I don't want you censoring my feed. If I follow someone, I'm following them for a reason. And if they start posting obscene nonsense I don't like, this is crazy. Joe, get ready for it. This is insane. I'll just stop following them. I don't want your content filters. I opt out. Because their content filters at big tech typically include things like censoring out political content like the Hunter Biden story that turns out to be true because it damages the liberal sycophants, their liberal acolytes that their lips are surgically attached to the caboose of. So that's great. You get to opt out. That's absolutely terrific. What a great idea by the spectacular Ron DeSantis. Number 2, a private right of action for Floridians against tech companies that violate this condition, meaning you can take legal action if they do that. If they impose upon you a content filter you opted out of. Great. I'm okay with that over a Parler. Fines of $100,000 per day levied on tech companies that suspend candidates for elected office in Florida from their platforms. Now, you may say $100,000 a day to people like Twitter and Facebook. That's not a lot of money. If you suspend, say, a political candidate you don't like. Now, who's a political candidate they hate? Matt Gaetz from Florida, congressman. I wouldn't be surprised if Twitter suspends him right before his next election because that's just what Twitter does. It's possible. Well, they'd get a fine of $100,000 per day. Yeah, that's not a lot of money. Well, what if other states followed along and other Republican governors grew some cajones, got their XL size underwear from their small size now, and said, yeah, we're going to do that too. Then you may be looking at fines, simple math. Libs, you're going to have a tough time with this. If 10 Republican states joined in, that would mean $1 million per day. I know that math is tough. 10, 100,000. Yeah, Paul, is that right? Double check. Yes, Paul has given me a nod. That would be $1 million a day. Now, all of a sudden, even in Washington, D.C. terms, you're talking about real money. If, say, 25 or 30 states got on board, now you're talking about real money. I like that. We like it. That's really great. Here's another one. Daily fines for any tech company that, quote, uses their content and user-related algorithms to suppress or prioritize the access of any content related to a political candidate or cause on the ballot. We like that too. Kind of similar to the last one. Transparency requirements, that's good. Disclosure requirements enforced by Florida election authorities for tech companies that favor one candidate over the other. Wouldn't that be great if we forced them to explain why they banned a pro-life group, say, from running an ad on Twitter? That hasn't happened. No, it has. Remember Marsha Blackburn had a pro-life ad? God forbid you support life in the womb. Republican senator from Tennessee. Remember that? And the ad was banned? You'd have to explain why. I'd love to see that explanation. And it gives power to the Florida Attorney General to bring cases against tech companies that violate these conditions under the state's Unfair and Deceptive Practices Act. Weird, I said I wasn't going to read every one, but I did anyway, because I really like this story. And it would be spectacular if something like this went viral and spread around the whole country, wouldn't it?